One thing that unites all of them, because there's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God.
And in the loch beside Nendrum, archaeologists made a recent discovery that reveals just how radically the monks were transforming life in Ireland.
This is the remains of the oldest tidal mill in the world, and we know it dates about 619, 621. The technology that was involved in this is quite simple, but it is quite spectacular just to think about what they did, because they clearly created a dam across here. The dam is made of stones, clay, revetted with timbers. The dam's probably about 6 metres across, runs for 110 metres to create the mill pond. And they did that, and as well as that, they lined the base of the mill pond with impermeable clay so that the water would actually stay in rather than seeping through the floor. So this is it's quite a remarkable feat of technology. And so you'd have the dam here with sluice gates in it. The sluice gates let the tide in, they close the gates to create a pond, and then they use that water, when the tide goes out, they use that water to drive a mill and basically would grind corn for the monastery.
That's renewable energy.
Renewable energy, and for those times, you know, remarkable energy. Because I think one of the interesting things about this mill, which, as I said, is the oldest tidal mill in the world, is that it exists in Ireland, and Ireland in those days was right at the edge of the known world, and yet here you have the development of one of the most advanced technologies in the known world. So quite spectacular, really.
What does this level of sophistication tell us about Ireland in that period?
I think it says something very important. You have monasteries, which were very important features in the landscape. But in the traditional view, these were holy places. They weren't places which really interacted with the rest of the landscape in any kind of serious way. What this kind of technology is showing us is that monasteries were more than just holy places. They were also places where monks developed production, where monks got involved in worldly affairs, and they interacted with their local communities in much more serious ways than we ever imagined.
You see, I've always been very sceptical about Christianity and why it's spreading and why it's so popular, but coming here, it's very, very clear, isn't it? I mean, this is economic dynamism, it's modernity, it's ideas, it's technology.
This was previously a period which people believed Ireland was a landscape that was tribal, rural and familiar, as one scholar called it, but basically with monasteries as very focal points within that. This is happening earlier in Ireland, probably 50, maybe 100 years earlier than it's happening in England.